computer. Okay. So thank you very much for being here today. As you know, we are really excited to start these community engagement distance learning trainings. And this one right here will have what's called our Getting Ready for Distance Learning tips for families and how to access TRUSD apps. This will be the first of many different trainings we'll be offering throughout the next couple of weeks and months to support our continued learning for families. As you see right there, click on this. My name is Heriberto Soto. I work as the Family Community Engagement liaison or the team lead for the district. You have my contact information there. I will be one of the facilitators for this talk. We'll have Mr. Suchi Cha, or Mr. Thor, as we call him, who will be our chat moderator. And he's also going to be one that's going to help as far as any questions that you have to share with the whole group as well. In this case, we have two experts here today, Education Technology, Jennifer Kramer and Mr. Lucas Machado. They're here today, and they'll be answering questions when it comes to the technology that the teachers are being using to promote or to engage students when it comes to distance learning, and information that maybe some of you might know, and then some tips as far as how to use that information. And then we also have our two experts when it comes to curriculum. We have Ms. Anderson McGuire, who is the coordinator for curriculum and instruction for K-6. And then we have Ms. Adegio, for the coordinator for curriculum for 7-12 as well. And they'll be providing some information when it comes to curriculum as well. As a reminder, that information, you have their emails there. The best way to contact us, as you might know, the best option would be emailing us, and we're further responses when it comes to questions that you might have in supporting your students through the next couple months for the school year to end. Just to let you know, in this case, with our welcome and Zoom check-in, the Q&A option that you see right there would be a really good way to ask questions when it comes to the panelists. And just to let you know, the microphone has been muted, and as far as the ability to share, this obviously is to ensure that we have a really good, productive webinar training for you all. And just to also remind you to please keep those comments appropriate when it comes to chat in the chat room. Mr. Thor will be asking, typing out the questions that you're posing as well. And so that's just let you know that option as well. So today, this is pretty much our agenda that we have, is to discuss what are some of the resources that we have within Twin Rivers. What does distance learning look like? What are some of the apps and applications that are being used to promote distance learning? When it comes to what are the websites, and then we'll finish with our closing thoughts and some workshops that we have scheduled in the next couple of weeks. Just to let you know, as you probably have seen when you go to the district website or your school sites, you see an emergency notification once you log in. It says that as a result of the COVID-19, that schools are closed, and you can find all information readily accessible within the COVID-19 section. So for there, you can find information when it comes to the technology requests, when it comes to the surveys or the workshops that are being promoted or used for families, when it comes to lunch distribution, information about different departments, in this case, special education and student services, some of the mental health services. A lot of the information you can find visiting that link, and that will provide information as a first step. In case you have questions, you can also reach out to your school's staff members and teachers as well. One of the things that the IETS want to share with you is, in case we know that many of the families haven't had a chance to receive or be able to pick up a Chromebook or hotspot. In this case, if you haven't done so, the best way you could do so is to go and log into the survey request. You put information based with your student ID number that you have for your student, and then there's an option there that says standby, and what that means is that they are waiting for you to, let's say in this case, make a request. You put information for your student, and they'll be contacting you on the date pickup specifically, so you can arrange the time to pick up, in this case, your Chromebook. They're trying to see as far as meet the demand of our families, and we're trying to support our students either with a Chromebook or hotspot, depending on the need. And so in this case, also just to let you know too, this, where it says internet resources for families is highlighted in red. So what we'll do there, we'll send this information to you all as an email attachment with the links as well. And that gives information about some of the services that are in this Comcast or AT&T are offering for families when it comes to internet access as well. Right here, you see right there is a link they can click on, you can complete the form, and in that way it'll be as far as starting the process and requesting. Just to let you know, in this case, IT department has created a contact email and a phone number you could contact to reach out when it comes to you have questions you have to accessing information. So in this case, if many of you don't know what your student's ID number is, the best bet would be is reaching out to your teachers to ask for that information or an office manager there at your school sites. And if it's coming to like difficulties as far as accessing information, you could also connect and you could call the IT support line at that number. And they mentioned to me that typically it takes about a half hour when it comes to taking response, but they're trying to do the best to respond and support all families. If you are unable to access or trying to, you want to leave a message, you could, that's also an option you could do as far as communicating with our families, or sorry, with our IT department. The special education line has, in this case, a phone number there that you can see right there they could contact. In this case, you have, in case you're asking for support services for special education, you can contact that number, 916-380-9218, Monday to Friday, and you can speak with them within the special education department, or you can also call the message line, and they'll be able to contact you during the day as well. Information about special education, IEPs, you can also find that information on that coronavirus section, also within the special education department as well. And one of the last things, just to let you know about the helplines, the Student Services has created a helpline for families that are going through a state of homelessness, questions when it comes to foster care or for foster youth, information about enrollment. If you call that number, they'll be able to help and service you for any questions that you have. And additionally, when it comes to student services, they want to share this information for you all. So in this case, there's some of our students who are in the process of requiring and asking for work permits or a renewed work permit. If you call that student support service line, they'll be able to help you and arrange a time to schedule to make an appointment, and in that way they can help process, in this case, a work permit. And one of the things they also want to share with you is beginning on Monday, they'll start a process where they'll help with enrollment. So if you have any questions when it comes to enrollment at a school site, for example, if you're a new student and you haven't been enrolled in our schools and you want to participate in some sort of online instruction from our staff, or you're a new student that's going to be starting next year, you could send them an email when it comes to enrollment at twinderusd.org, and that way we can help you as far as getting that information from our staff from the student services. This information is also found within the student services section in the website as well. So in this case, this is one of the questions that families have been asking: what will distance learning look like for my students? So in this case, can I have Ms. Kramer or Mr. Machado to kind of just talk briefly how that looks like, and then what your words would say, and then we'll continue with some of the how distance learning will look like when it comes to the apps, when it comes to the way that teachers are using online instruction, and this is where your expertise will be much appreciated.
Sure. So our teachers are going to be connecting with you, and the directions are going to vary from teacher to teacher. However, there are some common platforms. I would say most of our teachers are going to be using Google Classroom to send out assignments. And I can show you what that looks like. And then we can also, Jen can also show everyone what the apps portal looks like. And that's where all of our applications are. And I think that will provide the best overview. So do
you want to start with the apps portal, since that's how the easiest way to get to Google Classroom would be?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so I'll start with the apps portal. So I'm going to share my screen. It's going to kind of go over the presentation that you guys currently have so you can see what it looks like. But our apps portal is our one-stop our one-stop shop for being able to see, sorry, I've got to get the right screen up, for students to get to their applications and to get to what they need to access all of their learning tools. So this is what our apps portal looks like. You get there by going to apps.twinriversusd.org, or you can go to any school, one of our school sites, and up at the very top of the school site, let me dismiss this one, there's a link that says TRUSD apps, and that will also take you to the apps portal. So when we go to the apps portal, you're going to see the landing page that looks like this. Again, apps.twinriversusd.org. At the top, there's this number up here again that will help you get to the tech support for families. You can call the number or email them if you're having trouble with anything with technology for accessing the apps, or if you're having trouble with Chromebooks or things like that. And then you're going to have two choices to sign in. Your student will. They can either sign in using their TRUSD account, or if a teacher sent home a quick card and they are a K2 student, and maybe some special ed students, they may have a quick card, and you can also print that out. So if the teacher didn't send it home, but they've set up quick cards, you can print those quick card out too. So when they click the quick card one, that would be holding up the card to the camera, and it would log them in. If they don't click the if they click the sign in with TRUSD account, you're going to see a page that looks like this. On this page, you put the student ID number along with their password. If you need assistance with passwords, you can contact the teacher, or you can also contact that tech support line. I would suggest contacting your teacher first, as they can probably assist you quicker, and they're there for you. And once they sign in, I'm going to show you a student view. I'm not going to click through everything just because there are some student privacies, but I'm going to show you how it works. This is going to be an elementary student. The difference in the apps portals are the student has already set their background. They have the ability to set backgrounds. I'll kind of show you guys some fun things you can do with that. But every student has an apps portal that's meant for them. So if they are a second grade student at Allison, they're going to have specific apps that a second grade student at Allison would need. If they are a 11th grade student at Rio Linda High School, they're going to have apps that an 11th grade student at Rio Linda High School needs. So you're going to see a difference in this particular student that I'm showing, and maybe your own students. Their own students. So the first one that they have is the red folder. That's their curriculum folder. This is going to hold their curriculum. Again, this is an elementary student. If this was a secondary student, the same curriculum would not be there. They would have the curriculum that is meant for secondary students. To access an application, you click into it. If it has this little lock right here, that means that it's either one of two things. It is an application that is called a single sign-on app, which means they click it and it's just going to sign it on for them, because it's a special link that gets it to a special website that's just for Twin Rivers students to access their curriculum. Or it might be a site that's a password locker, which means that there is on the profile, it can save passwords for the student. So if the student types in their password one time, then it would save it. If you're having trouble with something like that, you would go to the profile section, and you can update passwords under the password locker there. So then just click an app, and it launches the app for you. The next section is our Google section. Again, Google will vary mattering the grade levels. Students in high school are going to have different Google applications than students in elementary. All of our students do have Gmail accounts now so that they can contact their teachers. That again is going to be their student ID with their student password to log into that. Here is that easy way to get to Google Classroom. It eliminates any misspellings, and it will get you directly to Google Classroom. Oops, I didn't mean to zoom in on there. We also gave them some learning tools. These are some of the things that the resources that Ernestine and Leslie are going to go over. This is where you will probably find a lot of those resources that are kind of open-ended, that teachers may be assigning these, or these might be things that you can do some supplemental additional activities with, like mystery science. It's a pretty fun one to work with your kids, or Pixar in the Box, some art stuff. You can also access the Sacramento Public Library. Additionally, we have the next one over is My Backpack. This is where if teachers are assigning specific apps to students, they can assign it through My Backpack. So they would click into here. It would open another page. Again, I'm not going to open it because I don't want to, I'm concerned with student privacy, so I'm not going to share this student's particular stuff. But if you open it, it would then have apps that are assigned to the student by the teacher. So if your student has more than one teacher, they'll have more than one little box to go in with the teacher's names with the apps if the teacher chose to assign apps through the apps portal. The research database is a database where students can do some research. We've got Britannica, and again, this is one that the higher up the grade levels, the more applications they have that are related to them. The lower down, we made sure to make it so it's things that would work for them. We also have the school websites are right there. If you need to edit anything, you can press this edit button. The only things that really can be edited is the shape and the size of the font and the background and the color. Students can add folders, but the folders can't add any applications themselves, so there's not really a point of adding a folder. ClassLink also likes to do some cute little things to kind of make you feel like you're happy. So here's a nice little happy spring thing. You might see some other ones down here as the seasons go on. Up here at the top is the profile, and I'm actually going to slide this down. Inside the profile, that's the thing where you have your general. You're not going to make any changes here. Again, you can edit, some students can edit palettes and colors. This is that password locker I was talking about. It's the list of apps that have saved passwords for you. Auto lunch, you're probably not going to want to do anything with that for students. And then the sign-in options. So if your student does have a quick card by their teacher, it will say connected here, or I'll have a button that says connect, and then you can actually print these off at home by clicking print if you have a printer option at home. So that is the apps portal. Did we get any questions about the apps portal as I was going through that?
Yes, Ms. Kramer, there's one question. One of the parents is asking, will all teachers be using the backpack to assign, or will it come from different, or
it will come. So teachers are going to do, we've done some trainings on the backpacks. It's a new feature that we just opened up as distance learning began. So not all teachers know how to use it yet, and not all teachers will maybe do it that way. They might have links to specific things like within their Google Classroom, such as like a Flipgrid where they're linking directly to it, or a YouTube where they're linking directly to it. But teachers do have this ability now, but it is a brand new ability. Many teachers have already started adding though, so you might see it there. But there will always be applications that are already assigned by the district, and district-wide applications for them to access through the apps portal.
And there's another question that was, for example, with students, for example, I have one kid that's in first grade and one that's in sixth grade. Be logging into their own account, or can there be one shared for all? How does it work?
No, so they do need to log into their own account, because as I said, they have different things mattering who they're, like if they have different teachers and they're assigning to the apps portal. It also is just a way to make sure we're doing our technology, our common sense media kind of things, of making sure we're using our own accounts with our own logins. So you'd want to have one, if they're sharing a computer, just reminding the students to go to the profile. I'm not gonna click it. I don't want to share student privacy issues. But they'll click the profile and log out, and then the other student can log in. But they do need to be signing in with their own login information. The same for any of like Gmail or Google Drive or anything like that. They need to make sure they're logging in with their Twin Rivers ID. For Google, it's going to be at trusd.org, and then they need to use their passwords. And then make sure, especially if they're sharing, teaching that that good computer use of when you're done with something, you log off and let the next person log in.
There's one question when it comes to Google Classrooms. How does it look like when it comes to codes that teachers are posting? What is...
I'm going to stop sharing so Luke can go over that one too.
Okay, so hi everybody, my name's Luke. I'm the other educational technology coordinator for the district. What Jen just showed you is access to all the applications that the district has, and I'll go over one of those applications, which is Google Classroom, and that's going to be where most of our teachers are going to give instructions for students to follow. And some of those instructions might be to go to the apps portal you just saw and do something in one of those applications. So let's look at what a Google Classroom looks like. Many of you probably got codes to access a Google Classroom. So I will share my screen here and show you the landing page of Google Classroom. So when you click on, in the apps portal that Jen showed you, when you click on Google Classroom, you come to a page that looks like this. Jen, am I showing are you seeing the right page? Okay,
You're
great.
seeing the test classrooms.
Right. So students would go up to the little plus sign and hit join. That little plus sign just means join class. And that is where you would type in the code to get to your child's specific Google Classroom. So every kid will need the code to their teacher's Google Classroom. After you enter in the code, you get access to the classroom. And what you see before you are 3 different classrooms. Some of our students are going to have more than one, especially at the secondary level. They're going to have one for each one of their classes. In elementary, they might have one for their main teacher and one for a different teacher that they also are used to seeing. Or if they're part of a special group, they might have another Google Classroom for that group. So these are 3 Google Classrooms that you see, and you just click on them to access the specific classroom. So this is what it looks like inside of a Google Classroom. There's 3 main areas: the stream, which are for announcements to the class; the classwork, which is where all the assignments are; and people shows all the people that are in the classroom. So right now it's on stream, and this is where new announcements to the class would show up from the teacher. If I click over to classwork, this is where you'll see assignments that are due. Right now, you just see one assignment called math work, but there could be, many different assignments for the entire week on this page. When you click on them, click on one, you get any instructions that you and your student are to follow, as well as links or Google Docs, perhaps, or other PDF files where the work is to be done. There could be a video, as you see here, and a worksheet, something like that. But be sure to read the directions carefully for an assignment, as it may include various steps in completing that assignment. When I want to turn in work for this assignment, I need to click to view the assignment in its entirety. So when I click here, I get to still see the link that was provided by the teacher and any Google Docs that were provided. And this is where I can turn in or add things to turn in. So when I click the add button, I could turn in a link, I could upload a file, I can create a Google Doc, a Google Slide, a Google Sheet, or a Google Drawing. So the teacher might ask you to complete a worksheet and turn in a picture of that worksheet. So you would add the picture file right here and then click turn in to turn in that assignment. This works on a laptop on your students' Chromebooks. It also works on phones and tablets. On phones and tablets, you download the Google Classroom app. And phones and tablets are great for taking pictures, for uploading pictures, because they have cameras built right into them. So you can access the same Google Classroom on multiple devices if need be. So that's what Google Classroom is going to be used for. It's going to be used for the teacher to communicate everything that needs to be done to complete a specific assignment. And that may include going to the apps portal that Jen showed you and accessing the curriculum apps that are within the apps portal. So they kind of work in pair, but teachers will be using Google Classroom mostly. Some are using School Loop, which works almost the same way, to deliver the instructions to students, that parents can also see.
I believe some may be using other applications like Aries or Class Dojo. There's a lot of teachers that are finding the best ways to communicate with their students and families. I did also want to mention, I did not go over it, but the apps portal is also an application that you can download from either the Google Play Store or from the App Store, and you can use that as an application. If your student is using iReady, they will have to download the iReady app too. But it is also able to be used on tablets and phones.
Did anyone catch any specific questions I can answer while I have my screen up?
Yes. Mr. Machado, one of the Parents asking, I'm having trouble accessing Google Classrooms via my mobile phone. Is this portal best for laptops only?
No, I have my son's Google Classroom on my phone, even though he works on the computer, and I put it on my phone, but I don't open up the web browser and access Google Classroom. I actually went to the web store and downloaded the app called Google Classroom, and that's what works best. And I did that so that I can easily take pictures and help him turn in work on my mobile phone.
And there's one that's asking about they're requesting a quick card for their students. How does that look like? Does it have to be requested?
So it's a K2. Teachers at K2 can have it set up for their students. If they have not set it up, you could request your teacher to set it up. You could also, where I showed under the profile, you can do connect. And if a student has had it set up, it will allow you to print it at home. So, and if there's K2 student and it isn't working, contact the teacher and ask them. It is something teachers have to do.
There's one that's asking a specific one situation where they have a 6th grader who is doing math homework with a separate teacher, but they have a separate teacher for their other classrooms, and it shows up at missing assignments or missing, notifications as far as turning in those assignments. What could they do in that situation?
I would contact the teacher. As you see right here on my screen, there's a place for private comments. Those are comments you can write directly to the teacher of the Google Classroom. If you're having any trouble with this assignment, it might be better actually than email because it's referencing this specific assignment. So if I click into any assignment, there's a private comment box where I can say, I turned this in, I'm not sure what happened, can you help me? And there's also a class comments area where if you want to ask the class or post something publicly to the class, you could also ask a clarifying question there.
Okay. Here's a question. Are they able to print from these apps?
So some applications do have the ability to print, others do not. It's just going to matter which one it is. So like I know Swin Math, you can print some of the stuff off of there, but iReady, I don't believe there's anything to print off of that. So it's going to matter. It's going to be specific to the app.
And for Google Classroom, if the teacher attaches a PDF file or a Word doc or a Google Doc, those would be printable at home.
There's a question being asked when it comes to Zoom, which is one of the applications that are being used by some teachers. She mentioned that some teachers are participating in Zoom classes and sending Zoom links, but some are not. Can you talk a little bit about the use of Zoom and how does that going to look like differently depending on each grade level or depending on each teacher?
Well, it does vary depending on the grade level and depending on the teacher. Some teachers are going to be doing more Zoom, more live video chat than others. It depends on what the teacher is able to do and what, in the time frames that they have, and depending on the type of work that's being done, but it's largely going to be up to the specific teacher's discretion.
Here's a question when it comes to assignments that are being assigned on distance learning and when it comes to School Loop. Is that going to look differently based on School Loop assignments?
School Loop and Seesaw is another one for younger kids. They all work basically the same, where there's an assignment with directions, and then the students need to complete work in the assignment or upload something and turn that in. They're all going to work basically in that, pushing out an assignment, please do this, then you do it and turn it in.
There's a question when it comes to the use of the student computers, saying would the teachers be able to use, the parents be able to use a student's computer for district meetings, conferences?
Could you repeat that one? I'm not sure I caught it.
Sorry about that. It meant, so when it comes to the use of these Chromebooks, as far as the purpose of being utilized? Is it appropriate for parents to use those Chromebooks when it comes to, say, communicating via, let's say, for school-related functions, even though it's their student computer or student Chromebook? Is that appropriate?
I would say as the parent, you're ultimately responsible for, you know, the safety, first of all, of your child. So monitoring the use, assisting, and using it yourself for any school function sounds appropriate to me.
Here's one that's asking about the use of Zoom and what are some things that they should be aware of or things they should be cautious about when it comes to downloading or using Zoom.
We have worked hard to work with our teachers in making their Zooms secure, meaning that they probably will be, the students will probably need help entering in a password. So when the teacher says, here's a link to the Zoom, it will come with a password. So they might need help copying and pasting that password. And that's used for security reasons. But other than that, depending on the independence of your child, you would definitely want to be present in the room, especially for younger children, to monitor your own child's safety online, because as you know, whatever happens online, you know, has the ability to be shared, even though we have trained our teachers to keep things as private as possible.
And I also suggest helping your student and your family be aware of that your student is on the computer and aware of their surroundings. So finding maybe a little bit of a quieter space, something that often backs up against a wall is a nice way that it keeps distractions out of the screen. Area for the video, those are important things too, just to take that into consideration, that the learning environment at your home is a little different too. Reminding other family members maybe that one student has a meeting right then, so they can be respectful of it.
There's a question from one of the participants asking about when it comes to links on Zoom that are being shared on Dojo, which I guess they're not clickable. What would you say when it comes to those kind of challenges when they get sent a link on Dojo and it can't be sent?
I would reach out to your teacher. They just might not realize it, that it isn't clickable, and let them know. So we're all new in this, so they may not be aware that it's not working like they think it would. So I would just reach out to the teacher and let them know.
And in the Class Dojo app, there's a way to message the teacher, so they will be notified of the message.
And Luke, you're still sharing your screen, just so you know.
Thank you.
There's a question when it comes to as far as homework assignments, as far as it says that distance learning will be starting on the 27th. As far as when it comes to how those homework assignments are being graded, and if they count for part of a grade, they're asking that question.
It's my understanding that grades will not be punitive during this time, meaning that your grade cannot go lower.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna proceed on. Is that okay with you all? With let me find the here. Let me go back. So like this stuff. So these were some of the comments that in this case, EdTech has created this wonderful video that you could click on and you could view. Do you think I should click on it, Ms. Kramer?
It's basically what I just showed. So
Okay,
I think you'll
sounds
find
pretty
it to see it later if you'd like to.
Right there, you see there's a video. You can click on the link itself, and then all information will be there, readily available. You can find information there. One of the things here, as Ms. Kramer and Ms. Machado mentioned, you can access this information via the app or on the computer. Here's the instructions when it comes to downloading that information. What we'll do once we finish this conversation, we'll send this information to you all as a text. Sorry, not a text, but an email with the PDFs and all the information involved as well. Here is some of the information that they already have shared with you with the Google Classrooms when it comes to the codes, the TRUSD apps, and some information that is being shared when it comes to Zoom. These are applications that are being used for distance learning, in addition to ones that have already been shared, whether it's in this case, Class Dojo or the Backpack as one of the apps, or information, or sorry, the resources that have been offered within the apps portal as well. And what we want to share is that each school site is different, for example, in the way that they're communicating or organizing their online learning. So for example, I found that, in this case, this school site, Hillsdale Elementary School, what they're organizing and doing these virtual spirit days. They posted in their announcement, their office hours for teachers, where you could find that information. In this case, they have office hours for teachers. I could contact in case of any questions. This is at an elementary school site. For example, here you have Norwood Junior High School. In this case, what they have posted, in this case, the schedule of their teachers based on when they're available to have these Zoom check-ins or these office hours. The best way to find this information is visit their website. So in this case, you will go to that link that's there for Norwood Junior High School, and then you will click on in case you don't have their email addresses on the staff directory, you can find that information as well. And for example, here's one high school, in this case, Porterville High School, that has their office hours and their distance learning already posted within the website. So you just click on the distance learning link, and there'll be codes you can access when it comes to that information. And then the counselors themselves are hosting these Zoom hours or Zoom check-ins. You can talk to them when it comes to how they're doing their grades, when it comes to the credit recovery, or any other questions that you might have. Counselors here at Foothill are offering those kind of opportunities you could check in as well remotely. And then this is something, a website that, in this case, EdTech has created with a lot of resources when it comes to the distance learning website. I created a bit.ly account, a shortened one that has information about the curriculum. And then, Ms. Kramer, would you like to share anything when it comes to this website, and what's some of the resources that you think they might benefit?
Yeah, so this website is it's family directed resources. It also lists out the different resources at each grade level. So it will let you know what the curriculum resources are for the grade levels for like ELA and math. There's also activities which you can find in the apps portal, like Mystery Science or the Public Library and other things like that, that will help with learning and will give additional enrichment activities for your students.
So for example, right here, this is the schedule that, in this case, that you can find within the continuing learning website. For example, you have right there that the idea of promoting iReady and Scholastic Learning and Swan Math within some of these apps, or within these information that's already found within the TRUSD apps. This is one of the sample schedules that is found within the apps portal, or within also that website as well. And then I believe, Ms. McGuire, I see that you have unmuted yourself. Could you share a little bit about some of this curriculum that you find right here and you think would be beneficial for our families?
Yes, some of this curriculum, I know that teachers are assigning students to iReady, and iReady has been a very important piece of the curriculum that students have been doing all through the year. So that's one item that students can go to, or teachers can go to, that their student can go on and do daily, because they are expected to do about 45 minutes of iReady per week. And it's just really helping students with foundational skills, improve those foundational skills. Scholastic Learn from Home is something that can be done independently, although teachers may choose, as they're writing lessons now, to assign Scholastic Learn from Home, because you are able to go on and have books read to you, or read text yourself and answer questions. So it's just one of those websites that's really good to promote reading for students. If you need more resources around reading, that's a great website to be able to go to. And also Swan Math, teachers will be assigning Swan Math lessons within their lessons as distance learning rolls out. Students are able to go on and do Beyond the Basic Facts, which is their basic math facts practice, and all of these are things that, as Jennifer said, you could go back and go to the website through the portal to get to these. And Khan Academy, if students are having trouble with any of the math that they're working on now with Swan Math, they can go to Khan Academy to get support through videos as well. And as I click to the next one, Mystery Science, to continue that learning around science, students are able to go on to Mystery Science and find science that they can do at home and parents can help students with. And it's either you can spend the week on that particular science project that you're doing, or you may have a couple of different ones that you have during the week. But they're all things that can be done with whatever students find around the house. And so they don't have to go out and buy anything to do science with. So that's really good. Lunch Doodle is something that students can do to use for learning, for art. And Go Noodle for K2. I think when I was setting up the examples of weekly plans, I used Go Noodle for PE for students to get them active and moving around. And it's a fun way to do that. So that's something they can go to all the time. And then you have Unique Learning for our special education students. And I can continue on with the next slide you want. I know that in preschool, they created a very nice calendar for parents to choose from to do different things daily. There's also been a website, or not, but a Google Doc created for teachers to get more resources from for students. So they'll be assigning more things and lessons for students to do as we begin on the 27th with distance learning. In English Language Arts, they do have that choice of Story Online and Scholastic at Home as well. ABC Mouse and Storyfall is a very good source for more reading and more reading support. iReady, once again, for our kinder students, really practicing those basic skills. I think that's really an important one for parents to do. And Imagine Learning for our English language students that need more support around reading. Swan Math, they have their online textbook through the portal that I know that teachers will assign pages from Swan Math for students to do. They have been assigning GG Math in these last couple of weeks for students to practice their math facts, to gain that math fact fluency. And that's important to do, just like, as I had said before, beyond the basic facts with Swan Math, practices that math facts fluency, because that's really important for students to know, and math games to also increase that math fluency. And when we look at the learning tools for 1st through 6th grade, they can do code.org to really learn how to write code. And I know that some of our students have been doing that within the district through all of the programs with Lucas and Eric Garber that have been working on code and students learning how to do code. The research database, and I think that Jen alluded to this and talked about this when she was on the portal. For students that are doing research, they're able to go in and find resources that they need, especially at that 5th and 6th grade level. And once again, for English learners, it's Imagine Learning, and that's all individual support that students get. So it's very important that they continue with that. A lot of the lessons that are being developed and a lot of the resources that teachers will be using is our core curriculum, which is Journeys, which they often go through Think Central to assign sometimes the information, or they use Google Classroom. Students have online textbooks, and as Jen had gone through and showed you the portal, that's where students go on to find this online textbook and online resources. And teachers may be assigning a lot of the components of Journeys for students to go through and do their work. Some of those resources, they have their student reader in there, their student book that they're able to go through and read the text that the teacher has assigned, the story that they've assigned. They may also have them use the close reader that students are able to go into, read the text or read a story and answer questions around it. They may also have them use the level readers out of Journeys, where students know their reading level and they are able to go in and find the text at that learning. And once again, we have iReady, and I talked about iReady, how important it is for students to do that and to help build those skills, those basic phonics skills and reading skills. And I also talked about the Scholastic Learn from Home. That's a really nice website to be able to get more text and more reading in. We talked a little bit already about SWAN Math, and I know that teachers will be assigning that SWAN Math lessons and using the online textbook and the extra practice pages. Many students may have those extra practice pages that they're doing, and the Beyond the Basic Facts, really practicing those math facts so that they're fluent in it. And once again, we talked about Khan Academy. And the other thing I want to say is that I think most teachers are giving approximately 1.5 hours to 2 hours of work for students to do. So that's kind of what we've been seeing. So just kind of, it's an approximation. You may get more, you may get less, especially at K-6. And one more thing before you move to 7th and 8th grade is for parents, and I don't think it's in our portal, but Seesaw is another learning tool for especially the primary grades of K and 1 that have a lot of good resources for students in the area of reading. And I know that some teachers in kindergarten are using it, and so their student may be going through that platform.
And those teachers may also have added that to their student backpack. So if teachers are using that, they have the option of adding it to the student backpack, along with some of the other apps I've seen pop up as questions in the Q&A. There are additional apps that teachers are using, like ABC Mouse or Starfall, and those will be the ones you find under that student backpack area.
Thanks, Jen.
I can pick up on 7th and 8th grade. A lot of the same thing is happening for your English language arts. Collections is your main textbook. You should have assignments from your teacher through Collections. iReady, again, is more reading support, more individualized. If you need and should spend more time reading every day, you would use iReady for that. Newsella is a resource for 7th and 8th grade students that is a short reading selection. There's not only current events and social studies and science is also in there. You may see your teachers assigning things for Newsella. Excuse me. So you may see your teacher giving assignments through Newsella. It would be short reading and then answering questions about the reading after that. Scholastic Learn from Home, we've seen in the other grade levels as well. Same type of thing, more reading, more current styles of reading, informational text, usually again, current topics, things that are happening in our world. In math, you've got SWON Math again and Beyond the Basic Facts. Again, this is your student's main textbook in the regular classroom. So you'll see assignments from your teachers with SWON Math. Khan Academy is if you need additional help. You can search Khan Academy by topic. So you can look at what your teacher is assigning you in the regular SWON curriculum. And if you need to see more examples or you want to see another problem done for you, you can go into Khan Academy and see that happen. Again, in your learning tools, you've got code.org. We saw that 1st through 6th as well, just learning how to write code. Your research databases, and for English learners, you have Imagined Learning. You might also have iLit in your students portal for English language learners. And in 912, it's really more of the same. These are your main curriculum textbooks on the left. My Perspectives is your ELA textbook. And then Scholastic Learn from Home if you want to do more additional reading. 9 through 12 does not have iReady. So Scholastic Learn from Home is a great place if you want to do some additional learning for your high school students. CPM is the textbook for math. Their online textbook is available through your portal, as is Khan Academy. Again, if you search Khan Academy by topic, you'll be able to find those lessons to give you additional examples and practice by topic. UCubed is also a math skills practice site. It really helps students with perseverance, with growth mindset skills, and problem-solving skills. On the right side, it's the same things that you've seen already, code.org for writing code, research databases. I would assume your high school students will actually be assigned some things for research, especially if they're continuing on in their AP courses. So you might see some research that you need to do. This e-library is a great place to go and get the resources you might need for that. Imagine Learning and iLit, again, are great resources for your ELA students. And you may see some actual assignments on iLit for your EL students.
There's a couple questions that families have asked when it comes to grading, which I'll probably wait towards the end. Let me just cover some of this information for our families. So right here, what you see right now is the district, our visual arts and performing art teachers created a website to provide their lessons for elementary school. So if you go to this bit.ly account that you see right there below, students who have a TRUSD email account, and obviously all students do, and all staff will be able to access this information. They'll be able to see lessons that are being hosted within every week. They're updated every Monday. And this video right here, which I won't have time to click on, has a tutorial how to access this information in the website itself. And there, as well as far as when it comes to art lessons that are being hosted by our teachers as well. In this case, this one, Ms. Jones is talking about creating shapes in her art. One question was asked when it came to virtual libraries. One of the things that's being done, the public library has what's called the Student Success Library Card based on your student ID number. And they are a really good source of, in this case, really good ebooks that you can find and check out. A lot of the different programs that Ms. McGuire and Ms. Adesio have provided when it comes to virtual books as well, and the resources you can also find within the TRUSD Continuing Learning website as well would be really good ways to find information. There's some resources here you can find in the public library, as well, as far as when it comes to online tutoring and homework help as well. And then the links that are there are to click on, and you'll be able to do so after we are able to access them, after I send the information via email. A couple things just to let you know, next week we'll be having 2 different seminars. One will be as far as using positive behavior interventions to redirect any kind of misbehaviors. This is hosted by our MTSS, or in this case, multi-tier support systems of support. They'll be on the 30th at 3 p.m. And then we'll have our mental health workshop. Will be on that Friday. I made an error. It should be 11 a.m., not 3 p.m. And I do apologize for that error as well. I just noticed that right now. There's some questions that I wanted to ask. And one of the questions that some of the families have been asking is, why are their kids not, why would they not be scored a lower grade on the schoolwork? Or how does it work as far as those assignments when it comes to completing those assignments and whether or not, as far as the level of grade, it's being graded? Could somebody answer that for us?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I do apologize. The question was, why are some of the assignments not being graded lower, or as far as an assignment being pass or no pass, or as far as the level of grade when it comes to assignments being graded, when it comes to distance learning? What is that going to look like for students?
I think the idea was for students not to be graded lower than where they were when we left, because we've missed some time in learning since they were last in the classroom. And now we're entering a world where we're all kind of learning how to really do distance learning. And I think the idea that came down from the governor was that we weren't going to give a student a lower grade during that distance learning time. In that it's not that we may not be grading the stuff, but teachers are looking at where students are as the work that students do comes in, but they're not going to be graded lower on it.
Thank you. There's one question asked about when it came to distance learning yoga or distance learning apps, and I believe Ms. Kramer had mentioned some of this information could be uploaded within the backpack that the teachers are assigning. Are there any other type of distance learning yoga or any kind of other movement websites that you recommend?
I would definitely check out that VAPA resource that you share. They will have some great things with dance and movement. Our VAPA teachers are amazing, and I could see that they had some practice rooms and other things on that website. So I would definitely look at that, and I would also just reach out to your teachers. They're going to have ones that they like and prefer. I think we all kind of have things we like and prefer. So reach out to those teachers and see if they have some resources for you.
There's another question that being asked as far as the accounts or the information that's being shared, that's curriculum that's being found as far as from preschool to 12th grade, as far as when it comes to some of the websites, these are tied into their students' accounts, right? Their email addresses or their account information?
Yeah, so there's 2 different ways. Some of the applications and things don't require student login. They're just free, open resources. A lot of the ones that were listed on the curriculum pages, those are all free, open resources. Other ones that we have connected, like our curriculum apps, those ones have a automatic login that is using the student's ID. And then some websites that are going to be used are going to use that Google sign-in. It says login with Google, and that would be the same ID, the student ID at twinriversusd.org with their password, and they'll be able to log into those applications. But there are also additional resources that are just open sourced and do not require a login at all.
There's a question that came as far as when it came to distance learning and they're having difficulties in contacting their teachers. what would you recommend, in this case, either Ms. McGuire, Ms. Kramer, Ms. Diageo, Mr. Machado, as far as communicating with their teachers in case they're having difficulties? What steps do you recommend?
I'd say if teachers are not responding and have not reached out to contact a student or their family, then they could contact an administrator at their student site.
I would also check like your spam folder to make sure that it's not getting put into, you're just not seeing it because it's going into like a spam area. It might be a just a lack of like things connecting and not knowing that they really want it to go to you, or it may even be the same way on the teacher's end. The teacher isn't actually receiving the messages you're sending. So I would definitely, as Ms. Sorry, suggested, I would try reaching out again, check your spam, reach out to the administration or the office staff and see if you can contact somebody.
There's one question that came as far as when it comes to distance learning, is when will be ending and how does that look like for going into the summer?
Jen?
So our school year will be ending at the end of the school year. Right now they are working on summer school programs and information should be coming to families soon about summer school programs. What it will look like in the fall has still not been determined by our governor or anybody. So it's kind of up in the air for all of us, but definitely school year will go through the school year. You should be hearing shortly about summer programs that are going to be offered.
Well, are there any, Missy, thank you very much for you being here. We appreciate your participation. Are there would anybody like to add any final thoughts before we finish?
Thank you for everybody who attended, and we're glad we could assist you and give help to you, for sure.
If you have more questions about curriculum, you can certainly email me, especially if it's K-6 curriculum. Email me, and if you go on to the district website under curriculum and instruction, you'll find my email there.
Okay, so what we'll do is, in case you have any questions, this is my contact information. I'm the one primarily who's been communicating with you all. What I'll do is I'll send this information, the presentation, the video link in the next couple of days. For the next series of workshops, we'll be doing the same. We'll be sending information via Blackboard Connect with the flyer and then way to register. We'll send you the link afterwards. We appreciate you all for coming here today. As always, visit the schools and district website for information when it comes to online learning. And we appreciate you all being here today, and thank you very much for coming in today. Okay. Well, thank you very much.